At this moment, sir, you hardly need any introduction. You made us encouraged. You made us dynamic by your distinguished. Thank you, sir. Turn is yours.
Honorable Special Guest, Senior Secretary of Local Government Division, Mr. Gandharbpur Ahmed, and Managing Director of Dhaka WASA, respected development partners, dear audience, dear journalist, good morning. I think it is very much clear about the occasion have been arranged. Actually, this is very important. We know that water is one of the fundamental requirements of human life. And if I look our personal physiology, the 70% physiological requirement is the water, and we are getting that 70% is water. For the plantation, water is required. And for industrialization, for development, each and everywhere, there is a huge requirement of the water. So we are fortunate that we are the downstream country of the Himalaya coast, so that we are getting chance. And as you know, this is the biggest delta in the world. And so, as we are the downstream country of the Himalaya coast, so water is, we are getting chance to recharge every year, especially in the rainy season. But still we could not fulfill all the requirement of the water nationwide. So in the rural area to urban area, we must have to support with the safe water. Every individual has to be connected with the water, and the requirement has to be fulfilled. So this is why a cross-sectional effort is given by the nation under the leader of the present government, Sheikh Hasina. Actually, if you look behind, that 60% of the peoples living in Dhaka, though in the time, before there is, but once we want to scale up the weight of the nation to the to get the essence of the developed country, so then we must have to think over for the industrialization over the country, all over the country. Because in many else, we have a huge opportunity of human resource, which might be not it is required to migrate Dhaka. Another challenge is there. We cannot allow to migrate all the people from the rural area to Dhaka, because Dhaka already been saturated, and I think it is the highest density country in the world, highest density city in the world. So this is why we have to rethink. So once we can facilitate with employment, industrialization, education, health facility in over the country, so that peoples will not be that much hung to migrate in Dhaka city. And unless otherwise, you cannot be think to be resilient livelihood of the common people of the country, which was the commitment of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So we have to be, we have to do it, and we have a planning, and we are working for that. So I think about this project, all the earlier orator have been told you, and they have given you the total explanation. This is one of the very important project for the Dhaka dwellers, and there is many where still there is some of this scare of the shortage of the water. One thing I have to point out is because there is a huge journalist, it needs to be I think clear to the people. Sometimes we are seeing that many people is not getting adequate water. even they get, the water is contaminated water, there is a bad smell is there. So I have consulted this issue with the WASA and we have started this thing, fine. You see, somewhere else, the pipeline, transmission pipeline was set up for 5,000 people might be. So, in course of time, day by day, dwellers numbers of particular area have been increased in such a way, maybe now it becomes a 25,000. So now, but pipeline was initially installed for 5,000 people to fulfill the demand. And there is some distribution line is there for all the 5,000. But now the distribution line has been set up for 25,000 people. So what is the now present situation? Present situation becomes very worse. What is worse? People are not getting, because the pipeline cannot be supplied. Though in the production level, WASA has enough water, but they cannot supply. So it is a requirement to reinstall the bigger size of the pipeline. So in between this, whenever dwellers are not getting the water, so they themselves, without permission of the water, they are fixing some sort of the pipeline and set up some pump to extract by force water. But what is the problem is there? So, because you have connected some sorts of the distribution pipeline with the main pipeline by leaking by itself, but it did not been fixed very properly, might be. Because of that, there is some sorts of the bad contaminated item is penetrating with the water, and which is supplying to your home. So this is why you are calling, you are saying that the water quality is bad, and there is a bad smell is there, and there is a lot of contamination is there, and you are affecting by a lot of disease. But this is that maybe you did not do, but somebody did. So I have pointed out this issue only not for giving the message to the to take the initiative of the WASA. So if such kinds of a pipeline, because your distribution pipeline is very effective one, but somebody else do it leakage, then it is very harmful. So you must have to check, and your field official or technician must have to check where, if anything, these kinds of a thing. But in the same time, you have to reinstate the new pipeline with the bigger capacity, but in the same time, you must have to stop it, because everybody could have a chance to be infected with many sorts of the disease. So this is one of the issues. Anyway, I believe that another issue is there. Many hue and cry I have seen, and I myself also face this question very seriously. Water price is going to high. You see, we have to be very reasonable. We must have to be realize the real situation. You see, in the dwellers, whatever the economic status of us are living in Dhaka, we are better than rural area people. Must have to agree. The poverty level in Dhaka city and the poverty level in the rural area, definitely rural area is much more behind of us, of Dhaka city. So, there is two factors. Water production cost. Water production cost, as Mr. Taksin have given the total explanatory cause of the cost. So that it is very much proven that there is about 22 or 25 Dhaka. So with whose cost the money will be paid back? Is it with the cost of the rural peoples, those who are suffering with many other the shortage of life? So I think all these things we have to realize. So anyway, I will appreciate Dhaka WASA. At least I must have to, once I say the true thing, that WASA of Dhaka, they have a good numbers of achievement. They are able to supply the full requirement of the water of Dhaka dwellers, as well as their quality have been improved. As per one evidence is there, Honorable High Court have given 28 point to collect water and tested by individual authority. After collection, there is only 6 areas have been identified is substandard, not seriously contaminated. Substandard water and rest, I think 22 points water was according to the requirement of the consumption. So in this position I can say that the water quality have been improved, and as Mr. Takseni Khan, he have mentioned, non-tariff water in our contemporary countries, compared to competitive countries, our position is much more better, that is below 10%. So in all this context, I must have to appreciate Dhaka WASA, but even after that, finally in conclusion, I must have to say, WASA must have to look about the all activities we are doing by themselves very keenly, no misappropriation and no irregularity could be identified. And in the same time, the project have been taken, it has to be implemented within the reasonable time. Otherwise, because the loan have been already been disbursed, so there is the interest already been counted. So as early as possible, you can make this organization project productive, so the money payable will be much more easier, because you can sell the money, sell the water, and from that indirectly the economic feedback will become. So in any way, I thank you very much with the contractor, those who are taking have been empowered for the implementation of this project, and as well as the development partners, those who are financing us. I think Bangladesh is going ahead under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister in all the sectors. We have a lot of achievement, and hopefully we are very much confident that under the leadership of President Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the dream of the father of the nation will be fulfilled, and the country will be lifted in the level of the developed country. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Honorable